Welcome back to the show. It's another episode of the Agency Freedom Podcast. We help insurance professionals move from captivity to freedom. This is our third of 3 episodes recorded live at the Accelerate 2024 conference presented by NetVu and Vertafore. You are in for a treat this episode because I get to sit down with the iconic Sid Rowe, marketing mastermind and genius behind so many cool things that you guys have gotten to experience in the insurance industry over the last few years. In this conversation, we talk about the AgencyOne program that Vertafore has put out that helps create uniformity and a more seamless experience across all of the many, many products that Vertafore has in their ecosystem. AgencyOne makes it much smoother for you as the user. And aside from that, we talk about marketing and branding and just have a great time. I love Sid's energy. She's always great conversation, great fun to be around. So let's go ahead and jump right into this bumper and let's get to our conversation with Sid Rowe from Vertafore. Let's go.
I love it, dude.
I really should have hit record right before. We could have got some of that.
We can recreate. We can recreate. I believe in us.
Oh, man. So Sid, before we hit record, she's like, man, I sound really good. And then I was like, yeah, we do sound really. She's like, wait, your voice is lower than mine. And then all of that happened.
Are we recording now?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I got to put on my deep voice. Hello. Hello.
Oh, man. I love live recordings. It's so much more fun than hopping on a Zoom call.
That's not the truth. Too many Zoom calls these days. I'm tired. And I feel like there's more meetings now that we're not together than there were when we were together.
Yeah. 100%.
It's just like, because now everybody's, let me just grab a 30 to 60 minute Zoom call with you. I'm like, that's 25% of my day.
25% of your day?
No, I'm kidding.
4-hour work days.
Listen, the math on that might have been a little
The math isn't mathing, as my wife says.
The logic isn't logicking. The science isn't sciencing.
Oh, man. I knew it was going to be a good sesh when we hit record and Sid Rowe sitting in the other chair, so...
I try to deliver. I have
started every session with simply saying, all right, we're back for another session here at Accelerate 2024. My guest for this conversation doesn't really need an introduction. If you have been around the industry for any length of time, you have undoubtedly felt her impact. That was a really loud bang just now.
It was.
I don't know what that was.
It was like acoustic. Like they're beatboxing for you. They got they are your backup music, baby.
Okay. Wow. So that's what happens when you record live, right? Goodness. Okay, so she is Sid Rowe, and marketing is the game. You've been in the industry for a while. We're gonna here's the roadmap for this conversation. We're here at Accelerate, obviously, ladies and gentlemen, and we are going to talk about the Sid part of the story, and then pivot to the Vertafore part of the story. Talk about AgencyOne, which is a really exciting thing. The Team Orange, or as I call it, Big Orange. Is they probably don't like me calling them Big Orange, but that's what I call them. They're Big Orange.
We'll roll with it.
And AgencyOne's a pretty cool thing coming down to make it a lot easier for your stakeholders to make sense of the extremely complex product offerings from Vertafore.
Yes.
So let's start with. Hold on, where's my sounds? There we go.
Ooh.
Let's start with the Sid part of the story.
Okay.
I haven't ever recorded with you. We've talked around it. I've been on webinars for Vertafore a few times, but I've never, other than hearing you on stage in Austin at One City World Tour, January of last year.
Yeah.
I haven't really heard any of your backstory. So how in the world did you get to this chapter of your career? Like, share whatever sort of bio you want to and catch us up to the current chapter.
Okay. All right. So real quick, I came out of the womb into insurance.
Yeah.
That is where it all began. My dad's an agency owner.
Really?
Yeah. And you know what they say about insurance? Once you're in, you never get out.
Yeah.
And so,
it's like the Hotel California.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
So, an endless maze of more policies. So
where's the guitar solo? That's all I want to know.
I tried to schedule them. I don't know where they are. I told them to show up in the loyalty lounge, but they're not here.
Tisk, tisk. Okay. So born into insurance.
Yep. So, family agency, and the dynamics there were essentially that I had to leave. When I came out, my parents are very religious, and they said, hey, this isn't going to work. And I said, okay, well, I guess I'll stay in the insurance industry, and it's what I know, and I'm going to try and be successful as successful as I can. And so from there, I went into the association world. I worked for the Big I for a year and a half and worked on the Trusted Choice side, which was more marketing for the nonprofit. So that's where I kind of cut my teeth. And the Big I started a for-profit, which was really taking the brand of the independent agent, Trusted Choice, and turning it into something tangible. And that tangible thing is leads.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, great. We have this brand that represents us, this eagle, and it's got this symbolism, but how are we attracting real people to the front doors of agencies using this brand? And that was the mission of trustedchoice.com. And Agency Nation was a I guess you could say like a partner product or brand to trustedchoice.com, where we took everything we learned about lead generation and then we gave it to agencies, right? We turned it into a training course and a social network. And so I got to work with Ryan Hanley, and we built the first social network of agencies, and built a conference with it. And from there, I just had this itch to get into startup world. And I went full blown. I mean, if you know anything about me, I like a challenge. And if I do anything, I do it to, 200%. So not only did I go to startup, but I said, I'll be employee number one of an insurtech startup run by an agency owner. And that startup was Be Atomic, and it was founded by Seth Zaremba, who I worked with for 3 years. I think he's a genius.
Absolutely a genius. One of the smartest people I've ever met. Intimidatingly smart.
Yes. The way he thinks about the agency model and how data plays a role as a competitive edge in the future of the agency world, both from a valuation standpoint, from a performance standpoint, from a partnership standpoint with carriers. He has really thought, you find a lot of insurtech companies are point solutions. They do one thing really, really, really well, and it's like one small piece of the puzzle. He just wanted to attack this problem holistically from every angle. And I mean, talk to the guy. It's hard for him to be wrong, right? I mean, he's kind of walked the walk and, not just talk the talk. So had a blast, working with him. That company got to a point where they had to invest more. Startup world is tough, right? You have to make decisions, and you have to invest more in product. COVID hit, and people were were buckling down on expenses, and not a lot of people were changing systems. And so, the company had to make a pivot to invest more in product. And that was sort of a sign to me that marketing wasn't needed as much. And so this offer from Vertafore came across my desk, and I spent a few months talking to product, learning about AgencyOne, or the vision for AgencyOne. This was 2 years ago. And I thought, that's pretty cool. I mean, that's really where Vertafore should be going. They are thinking about it in the right way. They're doing a lot of infrastructural work that is needed. It's not just, paint on a canvas. And I knew they didn't have somebody that could tell that story. And I knew I was a good storyteller. And so I said, okay, let's do it. And here we are.
Yeah, it's such a cool story to see the courage that you displayed to step out and do something new. I think articulating your own desires for what you want from your life and your career, and not necessarily following the script, being employee number one at a tech startup is the definition of volatility in your career. But that didn't bother you. You saw the mission at Be Atomic. Zeth can be a very compelling guy, and he sold you on the vision for what they were going to accomplish, and you jumped on. And then things evolved, and you chose a new path that better aligned with how you wanted to deploy your talents and meet your own objectives. I love coming across people that are courageous enough to live the way that they want to live, and they don't give in to status quo based mediocrity and just be quietly unhappy for years on end.
Yeah, no, that sounds terrible.
I cannot imagine a more miserable existence.
Sounds pretty rough. I don't know that I was built for that life, for better or for worse.
No, and I think most successful entrepreneurs and thought leaders in any industry are that way because they don't really fit the mold, you know? They don't subscribe to the belief that it's okay to just be a dead fish floating downstream and go with the flow. So and that led you to Vertafore.
Yeah, wow, that's appealing. Dead fish floating down the river. Nope, that's definitely not that's not the path I took.
So Vertafore, how do they pitch you? How do they get you over here? What was the zhuzh they put in front of you?
Oh man!
Other than just a big wad of cash, be like, Sid, here's $10 billion.
I wish, man, that'd be nice. I should have had you as my manager when I was, my agent.
Next time it comes up for your negotiation, just let me know. We'll make it happen.
JJ, here for some negotiations. I like it.
Listen here, Amy. Here's what we're gonna do.
Well, they didn't put $10 billion in front of me. They sat, so the CMO at the time, Cassidy Smirno, sat down with me and, essentially just walked through step by step the vision for AgencyOne. And, I remember I had met Rick Fox at ITC, was the first conversation. And, Rick is a very persuasive guy. I don't know if you've ever met him, but he's a sales guy.
No.
And he was selling me up and down throughout that conference. In the back of my head, I thought, well, it'd be interesting to see what I can learn if I go down this path. Because, the first step is always, well, what's the opportunity, right?
Yeah.
And I was just curious to figure out, what is Vertafore doing?
Yeah.
I spent years at Be Atomic, essentially saying, you guys aren't doing enough. And I was very vocal about that. So I was shocked that he even came up to me at ITC. And so the fact that he had the bravado to come up and say, hey, this is something you should be interested in, was like, okay, well, let's see what you got.
Yeah.
And that's after after that, we sat down with Cassidy and they, and she walked me through the vision. And I thought, okay, that's interesting. And that's when I started talking to product people and learning a little bit more about the team structure and getting into the weeds.
Vertafore, from what I can tell, is the way that they are in large part because they have been very successful at attracting talent to be in pivotal positions. So very curious to see how things progress with you over time. You seem like a pretty ambitious person. So I imagine if you find yourself at Vertafore for a lengthy period of time, you will make your way through the chain and find success and then promotion and then more success and then promotion over the years.
Wow, my ego is huge right now.
Well, everything that I've seen from you is either a great deliverable or a recalibration and moving forward. And it's like, that old adage, I never lose. I either win or I learn. And it's like, okay, I could totally see Sid doing that. So
I think, that's just that's a good life mantra, right? I mean, I tell my team that. When I first came to Vertafore, I said, there is no such thing as failure.
Yeah.
That, and also I don't believe in a butts in seats culture. I don't like this 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 or whatever it is. get your work done. And sometimes that means you work longer hours, and sometimes that means, okay, yeah, take an afternoon. I don't care. As long as the work gets done and the work is quality and I see your stamp on it, great, right?
100%.
But yeah, I don't believe in that, and I don't believe in failure at all. So, that otherwise you start going down paths mentally that aren't good.
Yeah. In the context of this conversation with AgencyOne, just to foreshadow a little bit, and hi for those of you watching on YouTube, I forgot to say
oh
hi,
my
by
gosh,
the way.
I didn't realize we were filming this.
Oh, yeah. I should have told you that at the beginning. I apologize.
Well, I would have done my hair,
Are you kidding? Your hair looks fantastic. Shut up. No, hold on a second. I forgot to clap to sync the audio. So for my friends in post-production, here you go. Here's your clap.
Make it a good one. Woo! Spicy.
Yeah, I should have done that at the beginning. So now it's just awkward because I don't have my audio synced to the camera. We have to sync it up in post. So there you go. That's how the sausage gets made, boys and girls. When you're on location, you don't get to sync your audio on the front end. So we are in a week or two. I don't know when exactly, but your direct report, Kayla Greenwald, and I are going to be talking about similar things, but definitely different. She's handling more of the carrier and MGA side of this AgencyOne initiative, and you are the owner of the retail relationships for AgencyOne. Is that a good breakdown?
Yeah.
Cool. So describe AgencyOne, because my biggest challenge from the outsider's perspective with Vertafore is, holy crap, man, you guys got a lot of stuff going on. There are so many products.
Yeah.
It is product overload.
Yeah.
It's definitely a net negative unless you have someone play tour guide Barbie and show you around is like, here's all the things you need to pay attention to, which is kind of the mission of AgencyOne, right? To demystify and track, put a track together of different clusters of products that fit well together and are designed to be implemented and adopted by certain profiles of retail agent. Is that a fair way of describing it? Yeah.
So Vertafore got itself into an interesting pickle because over the last, 55 plus years that we've been around, we have primarily acquired products and companies. And to your point, we have this vast portfolio of products which, from a balance sheet perspective is great, and why, we were acquired by Roper and they're so excited about us. But from a user experience perspective and from an agency owner's, decision or tech investment perspective is like really frustrating.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so now I have all these products, so I have all these logins, and I have to figure out how my workflows work across all these different products.
Yeah.
And then, internally at Vertafore, we're looking at agencies, and every agency has a little bit of a different tech stack or tech suite.
Yep.
So it's hard to really standardize. And so you're almost like recreating workflows every time you're on the phone with an agency. It's just, there's duplicate data entry. You can't get a complete picture of your customer. How do we build out APIs to send data to places? Because we know agencies have more tech than just Vertafore tech. It's kind of a conundrum. So that is why AgencyOne. That's the reason that we created this new way of thinking about our portfolio. Man, I could not have timed that music better. That was so perfect. It's just like...
That was magic. Oh my gosh. And of course, they're like 30 feet away from us, so the podcast and episode just got a lot more lively.
So do we keep recording?
Oh, we're going to keep recording.
Are we?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll make sure that in post-production they just turn down the music a little bit.
Okay, perfect.
So.
All right. So with that amazing tee-up of AgencyOne, imagine the day when you have not different products as a part of your tech stack, but different solutions that solve challenges in the agency that are all on one platform. So you buy AgencyOne or you invest in AgencyOne, and you can customize it to have a rater, to have policy management, to have client management, to have sales automation, to have service workflows, to have analytics, or maybe just a few of those things. Mm-hmm. So it gives it gives this all-in-one experience, but without the limitations of what we often find with all-in-one products.
Yeah.
Right, which tend to have low ceilings.
If you have an all-in-one product, then you're mediocre at many things instead of being great at one or two things.
Right.
Yeah. But you guys have the benefit of having such a robust product portfolio. All you really have to do is figure out how to line up the spaghetti strands together.
Exactly.
So they all go in the same direction.
Yes. So think AgencyOne has two parts. It has on the front end what we call one experience, and then on the back end what we call one core. So as you're bringing all these different products together, from a functionality perspective, they do a lot, right? I mean, PL rating does a lot today. Agency Zoom does a lot today. Even AMS 360, right? Which, we can say isn't like the sexiest product of them all, but it does a lot, right, for a user. So the question is, when we're bringing these products together on the back end, we have to standardize and unify the data model so that we don't have one database is speaking French, one database is speaking English, nope, they all speak the same language.
Yep.
That makes it easier to pull the data out and put it somewhere else if you want to use your own analytics platform, or connect through APIs and pull the data out and put it into a different branded solution. So on the back end, we make it really, really easy, right, from that data perspective. And that's the mission of One Core. On the front end, it's streamlining the workflow. Yeah. So we sit down right now we're sitting down with our customer success teams in different size agencies. We've done over 100 interviews at this point, and we're asking them, okay, when you think about your workflow from an agency perspective across all these different products, what are the steps you're taking? In the past, we've only thought one product at a time. What are the steps you take in, what do you do in AMS 360? What do you do in well, now these products have to work together. So where do you start? Where do you finish? Where do you go back and forth at any point, right? Where's duplicate entry happening? That's how we're thinking, is that client first approach and trying to streamline those workflows. So nice. And that's the mission of One Experience. So yeah, I mean, it's not a functionality game today. Yeah. It's more of a strategic, re-envisioning of the portfolio.
And when I think about the potential for Vertafore and your customers, your client base, sorry, that music's really distracting. Yeah. Oh man, I want to go over there and jive with them. That might be weird in a trade show vendor hall.
It's New Orleans. I don't think anything is weird. It is very
New Orleans.
Yeah.
All I need now is a second line to come walking through, brass band like yesterday.
Oh, don't say it. It could happen, James. Yeah. It could happen.
Yeah, it is very New Orleans. Yeah. Well, no one's been shot today in the vendor hall, so yeah. I don't want to jinx myself here. Yeah. Sorry, New Orleans. I didn't mean to offend you, but I mean, facts are facts. So, no, I really have offended people. So, the obvious play on the other side of that is getting deeper with your existing clients and going, hey, we noticed that you're using this product and you fit this profile of agency. Based on that, we think you'd probably like this product over here. And then, oh, by the way, your data's already in the system. That makes adopting this other product over here very easy. Yep. Like, you're using PL Rater, but you're not using Agency Zoom. Yep. Going, oh, hey, you have Easy Links for your AMS, but you have Agency Zoom for your CRM, and you're using PL Rater for what? Just hypothetically, it's like, hey, have you looked at QQ Catalyst? Have you had a demo? Because if you're on Easy Links and you have those other two pieces, AgencyOne could say, hey, agent, you should probably take a QQ demo.
Right.
It'd make your life a lot easier.
Right.
So I totally get where you're going already, but the step forward of looking at it from a sales tool of going, hey, you probably should have these two demos over here.
Yeah. And I want to be careful to reassure people. The purpose of AgencyOne isn't just to get people to buy more things.
Oh, no.
Right.
I'm just thinking process-wise.
Yeah. Right.
As someone who cares deeply about efficiency and streamlining workflows, it's like there's so many things that Vertafore does that I may not even be aware that they do.
But yeah, to your point, I think the strength of one of the strengths of AgencyOne's is that I think in the world of technology in 2024 and beyond, there's a lot of confusion around what an agency's tech stack should look like and in what sequence you buy that technology and why. And so because there's this confusion, we see a lot of agencies go to conferences and then sign contracts, and then the technology just sits and it doesn't get implemented. Yeah. Or, they heard about it from a friend, and so, you got to try this. Okay, I'll try it, right? And then they use it a couple times, and that's it.
Well, and the worst part about that is they get the idea, this doesn't work. It's like, no, that's not actually correct. Right. It just wasn't implemented thoughtfully, intentionally, and maybe you didn't get the right training, the right resourcing on the front end, or some other variation of this product isn't the problem. The way that you're using it is the problem. Right. Maybe you're intending for it to do something it's not really built for, or you just don't know how to use it.
Yeah, or
it doesn't fit the profile of agency that you are.
Exactly.
And you shouldn't be on that product. You should be on this one over here instead.
Right. Yeah, I mean, look, I'll be the first to say Vertafore isn't for everybody.
No.
Right? And so you, as an agency, you have to do your due diligence and decide how that technology fits your agency's model. And I think what you're absolutely right. The gold with something like AgencyOne is we could at least help through that decision-making process. Yeah. Right? Be a resource to agencies to help them understand, like, okay, for my type of agency, with my size team, with the direction that I'm headed and the book of business that I have, here's what I should consider as a part of my tech stack.
Love it. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, efficiency and increased effectiveness of our tech spend, it has impact over the entire organization. The way that we train our teams, the way that we hire, the way that we build our org chart, the way that we have process and client engagement, and even sales and marketing. Like, when you think about it, and I know I'm preaching to the choir here because you work at an insurtech company, now, or as I lovingly referred to it earlier, tech oligarchs.
Yes, we are self-aware enough to know we are a tech
You
oligarch.
are a tech oligarch. Yeah. You guys in Applied and Zywave are basically the three oligarchs in the industry. And obviously you can get an idea of my preferred vendor because I'm here and no one at Applied has invited me out yet. So I'm not sitting here talking with them, and I'm not sitting to anyone at Zywave. No one at Zywave has ever said a word to me. So I'm a little bit biased. I happen to like the flavor orange. So I don't pretend to be completely, what's the word? Not unbiased, but the word escapes me. I'm not sitting here as an outsider without opinions on the subject. But thinking in terms of ruthless efficiency, I can't imagine why anyone would think that anything about AgencyOne that we've just described is anything but a positive. It's like, oh, well, you're going to take the stuff that I'm already using and make it work more seamlessly with the other things that I'm either using or maybe want to be considering to use.
Right.
And everything just flows more smoothly.
Right. That's the thing. People have come up to me at the conference and asked, so how much is AgencyOne? And the idea here is no, you misunderstanding. It's free, right? Because it's part of our modernization strategy. It's us giving back to the agent and saying, hey, like, we're at that tipping point where we have to we can't iterate anymore.
Yeah.
We have to actually leap forward into change, and that's AgencyOne. It's a reimagining of InsurTech at Vertafore.
Now, I realize that this next question may be absurd, and I know that you're not a product person, so feel free to say, James, there's no way I can answer that question.
Okay.
But thinking with my product guy hat on,
okay.
it's a logical next step to say that on the cost side of things, in the not too distant future, it may make really good sense for Vertafore to offer AgencyOne as an all-in-one solution where you say, hey, you get the entire spectrum of personal lines Vertafore product. Maybe it's personal AgencyOne, commercial AgencyOne, and you have an all-in price per head of X. Rather than, oh, you're going to buy this, and that costs this, and that costs this, and that costs, and so on. You say, hey, are you commercial lines focused, or are you personal lines focused? And for the shops that maybe have a little bit of this, a little bit of that, you can have like a everything. There's the Grand Poobah package that has literally every product, and it's X dollars per head per month. But AgencyOne becomes a shift in the way that we think about products and the SaaS business model in its entirety. It doesn't seem like it's too much of a stretch to think, well, right now, AgencyOne is a methodology, but it could very easily become a completely different pricing model.
Can I steal Grand Poobah?
Yeah.
Is that up for...
Oh, I give it freely. You don't have to steal anything.
Right.
I don't know. I don't mean to put any words in anyone's mouth, but it seems like that's a logical next step that would make things easier for people to make buying decisions.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, the future state of AgencyOne is one platform where all of the products look, feel, and act similarly.
Love it.
Where you don't feel like you're even in multiple products. It feels like you're in one product. Yeah. Right. And that's the idea behind a platform. It's kind of a weird thing, right? When you're like, okay, wait, so you have 16 products, you're in platform. I don't understand. Imagine the day when it all feels like one product. That's really a platform. So yeah, there will be a day when, we've already started looking at our analytics internally, our first party data, and saying, okay, for this type agency or size agency, what product suite do they have? For this type agency, what product suite do they have? Yeah. And looking at our own data and saying like, hey, what are people buying and why? And interviewing them and asking them how these things are working together. So yeah, we'll take all of that at some point in the future and leverage it to create, again, from a resource perspective, here's what we know agencies of this size or type typically purchase and why. Yeah. And it's up to you whether you want to invest in that way or not.
Yep.
Right.
Well, and just asking for feedback from people of, hey, what are you using for X?
Yeah.
We have this over here, and maybe it's just an education play of, hey, we don't mean to sell you anything that you don't want. We're just curious, what are you currently doing for this function in your agency?
Yeah.
And the education side of sales is the best part because, I mean, I own a retail agency and there's all kinds of stuff that I'm like, wait a second, why didn't I know that before? No, I've been involved with the Orange ecosystem for more than a year now, and every single time I'm around you people, it's like, oh, wait, what? I didn't know that. It's like, it's such a large organization. There's so many moving parts. This whole AgencyOne thing seems very logical to me.
Yeah. Well, and I do want to give a shout out to our Orange Partner Program.
Oh, yeah.
Which now has over 60 InsurTech partners that are all integrated with our different products.
Love it.
So these guys are amazing. I mean, look, at the end of the day, whether you have one Vertafore product or many, you have a lot of other products or solutions that are not Vertafore.
Yep.
And I've always been of the belief that it's the technology company's responsibility to figure out how to integrate for the agency.
Yep.
An agency owner or anybody in the agency, their role is not to be a technologist or a product person to figure out, okay, how does this stuff work? We need to help them along that journey.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the mission behind the Orange Partner Program. And, while we're not going to, there won't be a world where our partners, products look, feel, and act the same as AgencyOne, but at least we can connect them and integrate them in a way where duplicate entry is not an issue, and some of the other things that make the workflow a lot, create waste in the workflow, essentially.
And I recognize, because your role and you're, professional and everything, you can't have strong opinions about your competition in the marketplace. I can. Obviously, as the host of the show, I can say whatever I please. It is simply my opinion. But the Orange Partner Program really is the X factor for Vertafore. The posture that you guys have taken with Doug Moore's leadership and the people that work in his chain there, that posture is unique in our industry. I don't see any analog to the Orange Partner Program from the other tech oligarchs. They buy a company and either put it on the shelf or integrate it into their thing, and they're kind of like the Borg from Star Trek. Resistance is futile or whatever. I don't see that same approach to third-party partnerships. This is our way, and you become part of us, or we're not going to play nice. We're going to make it difficult. Not really interested in APIs, etc. The posture that Vertafore has taken with, hey, you know what? In this vendor hall right now, there's multiple companies that technically are competition for Vertafore. And they're welcome because they offer something beneficial to the ecosystem, and they've decided to play nice, and Vertafore's decided to play nice because you guys have probably realized there's plenty of pie to go around.
Well, and we're not afraid.
No, you're not.
We're not afraid of change. We are trying to lead the change with AgencyOne, and iron sharpens iron at the end of the day.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't mean to call out anything in particular, but, well, yes, I do. I would love to see Applied take a more open posture towards third-party stuff. And there's been some improvements. Got to give credit where credit is due. The team over at Applied is doing some things that are encouraging. But, I mean, Team Orange is a million miles ahead on being a leader of bringing people together and creating collaborative solutions that, selfishly, as a retail agency owner, I love it because it makes it easier for me to get more exciting toys to play with that talk to each other, and makes it easier for us to do what we do, So kudos to Vertafore, man. I know you're not responsible for the Orange Partner Program.
I am not. That is all Doug Moore. He is the man. But
when you think about the power of AgencyOne and Orange Partner together, it's like, man, there's some really cool things that can happen when these two things are in the same sandbox. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it is. It's, I think at the end of the day, we operate in an ecosystem where choice matters.
Yeah.
Independence matters. It's literally built into the name, the model, and how you are a technology company and can operate without those elements is kind of beyond me.
Yeah.
Right. That's the whole the philosophy behind the Orange Partner Program is you give choice, you should get choice.
Love it. Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
I'm just pumped to talk to you, man. I'm pumped you're here. And thank you for coming.
Hey, she is Sid Rowe, and this is another session at Accelerate 2024. It might be the last session. I don't know. I don't have anyone else who was on my gotta talk to list.
So I had to close you out. Hopefully it was good. Hopefully I gave the people what they wanted.
Well, the people obviously wanted a jazz quartet, and they got it. Right smack in the middle of our episode.
See, now you asked me why I hadn't gotten the guitar soloist, but I did get you a jazz band. So you're welcome, sir.
Sid gives and Sid takes away. No, there you go. Hey, this has been a great time. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. And for those of you watching, I think that's it. Signing off from Accelerate 2024. Let's go.